All right, when we look at this Bristol race and go a lot of different ways, the fact that we have a lot of place differential in the back of the field makes this typically we chase guys who start up front. We typically just want lap leaders and stuff, and just for first and foremost, Bristol is just my worst track. Like I just whiff on this shit left and right. So keep that in mind. But typically, even in the truck series with like 200 laps, that's typical of what we're seeing at our intermediate races and stuff. But still, we usually want to punt down at the bottom to either fill in positions up top, especially when in a race like this. As I said, we have a lot of place differential in the back of the field. We have a lot of stupid, like, fast guys starting outside the top 10. And then clearly we have Eckes and Hocevar. When we look at the laps very quickly, now, just by the way everything pulls, a lot of these laps aren't missing. They're just, because each lap is like 14 seconds. I have it to pull about every 6 seconds. And so typically I don't have laps lost in the cracks. And when you look through, there's a good majority of laps that made it. We just have gaps in between them. But even still, we have a good idea of where everybody is on averages. And when we look at the runs, we have a good idea of where people are at. Because this is going to be, it's going to be a long run race because we go through 5, 10, 15 laps very quickly. It is going to be a race that's difficult to pass. If you're checking out the ARCA race, if you've watched practice, it's old Bristol, like hard to pass. You got to run the bottom line, but yes, if you have a fast car like Sanchez, I imagine you're going to get through. When you look back at the last 4-ish, 5-ish, 6-ish truck races here, we have somebody that starts outside the top 30 finishing the top 10, and it's typically a fast truck, whether they messed up in practice, they didn't take a queue time, whatever the case may be. So if you have a fast car, you can get through the field, because the discrepancy in speed here is pretty wild. We'll talk about this feller later. We'll end the show like that. But when you look at the discrepancy in the speed, I mean, this stuff is pretty killer, man. You got Eckes, who's like clearly the best car, and even though this is early in practice, this is before the ARCA cars are putting down more rubber and stuff, but still Eckes was fast, Hocevar was fast, Corey is fast. But just look at the huge, and I know I didn't take out all the red ones, but this is a short turnaround today. We got NFL, we got truck series, we got a lot going on, but like this is why I like looking at mile per hour, man. Like this is a case to where like the leaders are doing 123 in a run at the line. We have other guys doing 120, 118s. You got some guys in the 115s and the 110s. Like, it is crazy how slow some of these cars are. So when we look at this in terms of fantasy points, if I can find my thing to click on, people who have a fast car are going to get up through the field, and we're just going to categorize them as drivers with A, because we understand that these guys have fast cars based on track history, based on what they've shown us, based on practice speed. Like, for example, like there's a lot of guys who just had a bad Q lap, like Quaffle, Kligerman, Garcia, all got loose in their Q lap and just lost it. And when you messed up on the exit of turn 1, or you mess it in turns 3 and 4 on your warm up, or even your first lap, you're killing the first and the second lap of your Q time. And so you're just dead in the water in the back of the field. Another thing is, a lot of people people never say this, they bring it up, but like these are two different fucking corners. Like one side is a smaller radius than the other, so that's huge. So like if you're good in one corner, we're seeing that a lot of guys are struggling in turns 1 because they're carrying more speed in there. Like that's a huge factor as well. So when we get, I'm not saying Garcia has a top 10 car, but when we look at guys that are pretty much guaranteed to pass people, it's these guys listed here in green. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. That's like 13 guys that we can see passing people. You can add Kraft in that. You can add some other guys in there. But for the most part, this is it. And for the most part, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of the top 18 are probably going to funnel their way into the top 10. So we're most likely going to have like Raja, Chase, both the Gray brothers. They might lose 3, 4, 5 positions, but they might end up running top 15, but they're still losing positions. They're not going to be hitting anywhere near value. When we look at Dean Thompson, Jake, Daniel Dye, Haley Deegan, Connor Jones. These are people who are probably going to ride kind of where they're at, probably 2 positions farther back from where they qualified due to people moving up, due to just being difficult to pass. They start in the outside lane. They fall back 3 positions on a restart, 4 or 5 laps into the run. They're finally in the bottom, and they've fallen back positions from where they started. So when we look at this in terms of like salary range and where we're at in terms of picking drivers, we are, I'm guessing I'm shooting the blue, shooting in the dark. It should be this one. So when we look at this based on salary, okay, there's a real chance that, and anything can happen, but for this, like, Holmes isn't going to work. We're not playing Dagan. Let's take this off. We're not playing these guys. Caden's going to the back of the field. Connor Jones probably doesn't get through the field high enough. These guys fall back. They're pretty much unplayable in most situations from how I would look at a vast majority of this. So when you remove these drivers, and I hope my audio is going through. I didn't even check that. Last week I talked for like whole time on Sunday, and I didn't even have my fucking screen on. I was so irked and so pissed off. Anyway, when we get here, like, our entire value is just fucking gone. Okay, the only people that you can play that are gonna and Mason's not even in the race. Carroll's not even in the race. So our value plays are pretty much gone this week. Okay, and there's limited upside. And Danny's out of this race too. There's limited upside in a lot of these guys. So where's the chalk going to go? Where people are going to go to play? It's going to land on Colby Howard. I can't see it land on like Connor Jones over Howard. It's going to land on Timmy Hill because you're going to be left with like 6,000 to 56 in most lineups, and we're not playing the guys in red. You're either punting down to the bottom with Steven, Spencer Boyd, Greg Van Alst, and that's what I'm doing. I pretty much have you either cut it off at Howard and Timmy Hill, or you're staying with like just like a very balanced build, really centering around Bailey Curry, Jake Garcia, Parker Kligerman, things of that nature with like Eckes at the top, whatever. And or you're just punting at the bottom of the field. And when we look at that, when we look at races on short tracks anyway, you're typically punting to try and get as many lap leaders. But this situation where all guys at the bottom of this salary are in play. These are the people that I would play. I don't have Ankrum, but I have Carson, I have Howard, I have Hill, I have Steven, Boyd, Greg Van Alst in my lineups. These are people that I'm playing down here. I don't necessarily believe that we need to really get stupid or fancy in this situation. Like, these are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I thought that was 6 guys. These are the 7 guys that you are using to fill out your lineups. And I don't even see a reason to play anybody else other than these guys. I think that's just how it is. I don't think it's really worth the time looking anywhere else. With that said, Eckes has, as we've stated, as we've looked, Eckes has a flying fast machine, and this is what telling it. Yes, this is early in practice, but this fall off that other people have that he just doesn't have is really, really, really interesting. Now it's kind of equalizing here in the long run for these guys, but I mean this is pretty huge. This is nice to see. Ty Majeski's there. It kind of sucks. Like when you look at this, Hocevar is at risk of falling back, and Hocevar starting second, probably going to be stuck in the outside lane starting this race, probably going to fall to 4th or 5th by the time he gets online. Hocevar has the car to get the lead. It's going to have to be done in pit lane. But that is us talking about Hocevar. Let me get back here. So when we look at guys who you're going to play, as I said, we've removed a lot of the poor guys and poor values in the last sheet just because we're not going to play in those. And so for me, my 3 areas of attack, because I'm probably doing 14 lines, I'll probably have 8 or 9 with Eckes, because I think Eckes has a high likelihood of leading close to 80, 90 laps in this race. Okay, so that's my first move. Okay, between those 9 lines, I'll probably have 3 of them just chasing the place differential in the back of the field, like not even playing anybody from 18th on up. It's going to be like Ben Rhodes, then all these bums, all the place differential in the back. Secondly, it would be like Eckes and Hocevar together, Eckes and Zane Smith together, Eckes and Corey Heim together, trying to get somebody here who's also most likely going to finish top 5 or who has a high likely chance of leading laps. In case Eckes loses the lead, it's trying to, or at least I'm trying to have an idea of who takes the lead from Eckes. That can even be Ty Majeski, whatever the case may be. The third approach in this race, which can either be Eckes gets wrecked at the end of the race after leading the whole time, so nobody else is necessarily a lap leader. It's just Eckes leads 130 laps. He gets cleaned out, sent through the fence on a green-white checkered or whatever, and finishes last. So all those points don't even matter anymore. So it's just place differential plays that get through, and you can use that like Zane Smith, Corey Heim, Ben Rhodes, or just play the guys in the back. Or doing like Hocevar and Ty Majeski lines. And that's how I'm breaking down my lineup or my lineups today. As I said, I'm leaning towards Eckes being a great play. But I'm going to just build, because the only way I see him not doing well is getting taken out. I find it very unlikely that he leads a high majority of this race and then finishes like fourth or like seventh or something. It's either, I view it as either he finishes first or second or he's just taken out in this race. So that's how I would approach that. I'll see what you guys are saying, and then we can, then like, dude, fucking, they had DraftKings had Carlos Hocevar as an option to like bet earlier on the sports book. Fucking Fantasy Cruncher don't even have, what's his name? Carson Quaffle. So I guess if you're using fucking inferior Fantasy Cruncher, they're not even updating the player pool. Like, this is a fucking mess of a slate. We got Outback Boy back here doing his old fucking shit. So let me see what you guys are saying. I think I kind of got through everything pretty fast. I'm trying to get this through so you guys at least have, an hour and 10, hour and 5 to finish your NFL lines and stuff, because I know there's a lot of NFL before lock that starts within an hour. What's going on, Kyle? What's going on, Clutch? Doing 3 max. Yeah, best of luck. Best of luck, Clutch. Possible not to go 100% on Zane Smith. I don't really see that. I would much rather play Corey Heim. Now, I'm going to have Zane Smith probably in like 2 lines. I can't imagine going 100%. Why would you get White? What are we doing? At least from where I'm at. Let's bump this thing over. So like, we're looking at averages. I mean, Zane Smith is basically where he qualified on averages, looking at all the laps. I need to get this screen live here. When we look at 5-lap runs and stuff, Zane Smith is like 9th fastest 5-lap runs. That's whatever, practice, whatever. But he's starting like 11th, like there. I don't see any speed here that's going to show that like you should go 100% on Zane Smith. I just don't see that. I think you should like much rather go. Like, if you're going to be overweight on somebody, just play the fuck out of Nick Sanchez. Like, that should be the guy you go 100% on. Like, why would you not? That's crazy. Or if you're going in on somebody in the top 10, I would go Corey Heim or not in the top 10, in the teens, like between 10th and 19th. I would do Corey or Ben Rhodes. Like, I'm not going to have a whole lot of Zane Smith tonight. That's just my 2 cents there. I don't expect a ton of crashes, but there's probably going to be at least like 6 guys that got DNF that will DNF. So it moves all these guys up front. Steven will probably finish like 30th. Spencer Boyd probably like 29th, 28th. Greg anywhere from like 31st to 27th. That's why you have to have exposure to these guys, because they're not going to finish last. Do I like Kligerman a lot? Not like in love with him, but I think he's a great pivot off of Bailey Curry. But I also like Garcia. I think Garcia goes underweight or goes underowned compared to Kligerman, compared to Bailey Curry. Like, I kind of want to be overweight on Garcia and Carson Quaffle here. And that's kind of it is, or that's kind of how it is. Kligerman makes a lot of sense, like I said, in balanced lineups. Like, you can have pretty decent lineups, like playing like Kligerman, Curry, Garcia, Nicholas Sanchez. Like, you can run those 4 guys, and you're most likely, I don't remember exactly, you might have to sacrifice one and go to like Carson or Colby, but like this type of build allows you to still get to Eckes, and then you just punt at the bottom or whatever. Like, those are the types of lineups where I see Kligerman working in. I like more just like balanced build. Would you pair Eckes and Hocevar together? Yes, I do. I will have lines with both these guys in the both of them together in a lineup. 44 you guys here. I do appreciate you spending your Thursday evening with me. I think that's about it, right? I think we've done everything, covered everything pretty quickly. Very fast. I'm like tired, so I don't have the same energy to just go after this guy as I did earlier. But I just don't like the amount of media coverage that Steven is getting. it's like propaganda level encouragement. Like, what is going on here? I don't, like, we shit on Tim Veens. We shit on Jesse Iwuji. Steven is fitting the same characteristics that we just shit on people for, but because we, like, some people know him, oh, he's a good kid, we can't, like, what the fuck is all this about? Why is there so much dick riding going on with Steven? This whole Outback shit is so, like, just fucking annoying, man. Like, what is going on with this guy? What is going on with this, man? Like, I'm playing him tonight, and, like, I have 3 things that I hope happen to Steven. One being, he wins me a GPP, and that'll be the first time I, like, screenshot anything, and I'll tweet at him, and I'll tell him to kill himself. Like, hey, Steven, thanks for winning me a contest. Kill yourself, dude. Secondly, I would love to see him dictate the end of the race, like, as a lap truck, like, blocking, like, just being in the way, like, causing somebody who had momentum to pass a leader, or the leader gets passed because he's stuck behind Steven. That would be hilarious. Third, somebody put this guy in the fucking fence. Like, that's all I want to see happen to Steven. Yeah, I think that's about it. I don't have, like I said, I don't have the energy. Maybe we'll rant about him tomorrow or something. Who do we think is winning? I think it leans a lot towards Hocevar or Eckes, more Eckes than Hocevar, but I think they have the best cars, and that's not only from where they qualified and practice and stuff. I just think that's where it is. I think Eckes and Hocevar are on their own planes, to be honest with you. They're rotating the centers way better than everybody else. That's where everybody's getting loose is center off in these corners, and I think they have a way higher likelihood of staying. Being able to just run the bottom and not get loose and push up the track and stuff. I think this is a really hard race for Eckes to lose, to be pretty frank. So that's my 2 cents there. Yeah, I think that's really about it. We'll rant about Outback Boy tomorrow, live show then. I can't wait to see whatever bullshit excuse he puts on Twitter, like, man, remember, like, the night or the time, like, the battery situation. He went like 3 laps down to the battery thing, but he's like, guys, we had a top 15 car on speed. Like, no, you didn't, dude. What the fuck is this? And then he's like, he's on news stations. He's on Barstool Sports. Like, what the fuck is going on here, dude? I just don't get it. I don't get it. I'm tired of seeing this white Jesse Iwuji all over the place, man. This guy is a fucking loser. He's a fucking clown. Get him the fuck out of here, dude. Somebody give him some fucking CTE from this race and just get him the fuck out of here, man. Anyway, so that's my 2 cents. Enjoy Thursday Night Football. Hopefully we can get through 4 plays without having a major component in DFS injured, so we don't just burn money away and piss it away and stuff. But yeah, guys, I will see you tomorrow. And yeah, best of luck. Enjoy the race. Enjoy the showdown contest. And I'll see you guys tomorrow.